if you're a guest star, you should be living like a co-star. If you're a recurring, you should be living like a guest star. If you're a series regular, you should be living like a recurring.
Can you talk about living below your means and how you've adopted that early in your career so you don't want to maybe spend too much here or there, or get too confident like this amount's always going to be coming in?
I have never really in my life needed like expensive stuff. And I've always been able to live below my means. I'm really good at balancing my budget and my checkbook. And even when I mean, when I was working at Accenture, I was making a ton of money. And so I did not spend that money. So I did not live how my coworkers lived. And my coworkers were buying BMWs and living in these like really fancy apartments in Manhattan Beach. But I was always aware of my plan. And I was like, oh, I got to save this money because who knows, like when I do get laid off or when I do, when Accenture finds me out and realizes that I'm a terrible employee, then I'm going to need this money to live on. So just from there, starting there, I knew that I needed to save and I knew that I needed to live below my means because after that I was, doing short films for USC and UCLA that you don't get paid for. And I was doing a lot of free acting work just to get the tape. And I was living off, my Accenture money for a while. And then I would do the waitressing jobs and the restaurant jobs and that would pay the bills. And like I said, I would book a co-star here and there or a commercial and that would be a nice chunk of money, which I knew again that I couldn't spend right away. And so I've always been pretty good about living below my means. Something that one of my friends, Yvette Nicole Brown, told me that I always have in the back of my head is if you're a guest star, you should be living like a co-star. If you're a recurring, you should be living like a guest star. If you're a series regular, you should be living like a recurring. And so I keep that in the back of my mind, and I think about that a lot. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, I'm always thinking about that, and she gives good advice.
So when you got, let's say, the first big acting related check, did you have a temptation to, I want to splurge this on A, B, and C, and did you reward yourself, or did you say no? This is my winter money. I need this.
I said, this is my winter money. I need this. I don't think I've never splurged on anything unless I needed it. So my splurges have always been, if I have a 10-year-old laptop, then I need to get a laptop because it keeps shutting down. Or if I have a 6-year-old phone, then I'm going to get the new iPhone. But I'm not someone who, the iPhone 13 just came out. I don't need to go rush out and get that. I think I'm very happy with small rewards when I book, let's say, like booking a commercial. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get pizza from my favorite place, or I'm going to go get ice cream. Like food is something that I care about a lot. And the foods that I like aren't very expensive. So that's a splurge for me. I'm not someone, I will only go out and buy a car if my car is on its last legs and undrivable. So I guess I'm like really good with money in that sense. And I love to travel, but I have traveled a lot throughout my childhood and even up through college. So even when I moved to LA, I was like, oh, I don't need to go to Europe because I've already been to Europe. Or I don't need to go spend my money in Asia because I've been to Asia. So I would always keep that in mind, and I'd be like, well, I actually need to get new headshots as opposed to do something splurgy and crazy.
So that something that you can reinvest back into, whether it's your acting career or a film, is something you'll put money into. But it sounds like
always I'll be putting money back into my career.
Right, but not, you don't need a new model of whatever car.
No, no. And I love Groupon. I love Living Social. I'm always looking for a deal.
Where are some of the best places that an actor or creative can invest in themselves? What can they do?
I believe the best thing that you can invest in is your work. So, for example, I did a short film in 2016 called Cowboy and Indian. And this is how it came about. Basically, I was doing my taxes and I noticed that there were these stocks that I had never noticed before. And I called the number that was on the tax information sheet and I asked, oh, what are these stocks? And they said, oh, these were gifted to you when you left Accenture. And I said, excuse me? Okay, how much are they worth? And they said $5,500. And I said, send me the check. And they said, well, we don't recommend you cashing out. And I was like, send me the check. And I got a check for $5,500 that I put directly into funding my short film, Cowboy and Indian, which I wrote, produced, directed, and star in. And it was a really freeing experience because I gave myself the permission to fail on making that short because I knew it was my first short film. It would probably turn out to be a piece of shit. But guess what? Nobody was going to be blamed except for me because I was putting my own money into it that I didn't even know I had. So it wasn't money that I needed to make back. I was just like, this was free money out there that was mine. And I had just discovered it. So I had already written the short film and it was a 5-page script. And I put my crew together, put my cast together, and we went out to the desert, to Joshua Tree to shoot it. It was a 1-day, 1-night shoot. And came back, went into post-production, and when it was finished, I said, oh, this isn't bad. I was like, this is not a bad first short film. And I started submitting it to film festivals and didn't get into any of the biggies, didn't get into Sundance, TIFF, Tribeca, or South by, but I got into a lot of Asian American film festivals and Indian American film festivals. And so I did the festival circuit. I traveled with it. I believe I got into over 15 film festivals in 2017, 2018. And it was just really fun. And it was amazing watching it on the big screen along with 4 or 5 other short films that were in the same block as mine. And I have never regretted putting that stock money into my short film.
Was that part of like a 401k that they had?
It wasn't part of a 401k. It was just stocks. It was stuff that you could actually cash out and get the price of whatever it was at that time.